not enough.
There are many people asking why.
Ask questions.
There are many people paying attention.
Pay attention.
There are many now who see the big lie.
Do you see it? It's in your face.
Many folks who want to get busy.
Are you motivated?
And you're crazed, fearless, ill-organized.
Yeah, they're scared of you.
And you notice that it's starting to happen.
Worldwide.
You've betrayed their trust, you now realize. The line's been crossed in the sand, and the fire's been fanned. All the people demand to hear the plot that you planned. You won't be trusted anymore.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It's Friday, TGIF, right? Yeah, it's the 5th of September, 2025. These are the WTF reports. I'm Dave vonKleist. Yes, I'm here with the facts, WTF. And if those facts make you exclaim, WTF, well, they should. Because, I mean, there's every reason in the world that everyone in this country, and indeed across the world, should be looking at the world events and saying, WTF. It's insanity. It just gets, it's like watching a huge train wreck in super slow-mo. You know, it really is. Anyway, welcome to the Friday edition of the WTF Reports. And, yeah, we've got a phone number here. You want to call in and belly up to the telephone bar, you're welcome to do so. I got a couple things I got to get to today, but you're always welcome to call 215-867-8255. And as always, this broadcast is brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. Yeah, check it out, folks. We're talking about Tesla technology. We're talking about frequencies. We're talking about Rife machines. Check it out, folks. Look up Rife machines. Get yourself brought up to speed, and you'll come to understand why this Wave Watch is so cool. Because it's a Rife machine you wear on your wrist. It's got over 1,000 different frequencies, and I'm not here to say that that's going to cure or treat any problem that you might have, but it could help. Frequencies do lots of good things for you that FDA doesn't want you to know about. That's why this technology has been suppressed for decades and decades and decades, but now it's coming out. So, hey, check it out, folks. You'll be glad that you did, and you'll save $100 if you purchase one, if you use the promo code REDPILL100. Check out the Wave Watch at our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page, and you can, hooray, hooray, read all about it. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Where do we start? I got a couple of topics that I want to start off with. Of course, we've heard about the flotilla that is descending upon Israel and Palestine. I should say Palestine. And the Israelis are threatening to take them out. Yeah. I'll tell you, yeah, they're saying that this flotilla that's filled with doctors and supplies and activists and reporters, journalists, well, they've all been labeled as terrorists by Israel. So that's going to be their legitimization to attack them, I suppose. We'll have to see how that's going to play out. And, of course, the Human Rights Commissions and all this other stuff, they've been condemning what Israel's been doing for quite some time, but Israel doesn't have to pay attention. They don't have to pay attention at all because they don't see the Palestinians as human beings. No, that's why they say we don't have to listen to the Commission on Human Rights because we're not dealing with human beings. That's what their belief is. Anyway, we got a phone caller on the line here. Let's open up the phones. Hello, caller. Who are you and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Fort Myers, Florida, and I'm going to go by Z.
Okay, great. Well, you sound like a first-time caller.
I am actually, and I've been listening to your show for probably about a month. I just wanted to emphasize on something that you were talking about on your show yesterday.
Okay.
Or maybe the day before. The kill switch that Virginia Giuffre has.
Right.
When you collaborate with Isaac Cappy, I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Oh, yes, I know. Yes, I know all about Isaac Cappy, yeah.
Isaac Cappy had a kill switch as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the kill switch, matches the same description of the building that James O'Keefe, I don't know if you know who he is.
I do, yeah. O'Keefe Media.
Revealed the temple that they have on Little St. James, that she survived.
Mm-hmm.
She is a survivor. There's survivors out there. And the thing that's very important is Isaac Cappy's his same testimony about Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, all these huge names
are
the same people that she's saying the same thing. So when this list comes out, you are absolutely right. It is going to crumble nations.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to crumble empires, and it's going to be something that might put a really big target on Israel. I support Israel, but I do not support the regime.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing, and that's because of my religious background. I support the people of Israel, not the regime.
I'm the same way.
Years and years and years. And I believe that Isaac Cappy and Virginia Giuffre were both murdered. And I believe Isaac Cappy had known more information than we thought. But the one thing that does make sense is the building on his kill switch video is the same temple that Epstein designed his temple on his island. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The very top, the structure, the patterns, everything. It's the same thing, and it's used for most places. That place is actually, it's in Syria. I'm not sure if I'm 100% on that, but it's in Syria, and it's known to be like a brothel, a bathhouse, and all that kind of stuff. She knows that he's not dead. The whole world knows he's not dead. He's too important. They have to keep him alive.
Mm-hmm.
He has too much leverage. It's like that John Wick scene in the first one, where John Wick goes into the safe and he destroys all the money that this mafia guy has, all the CDs, all the leverage that he has. You can't go and John Wick this. He's too important. And I believe that Trump is possibly using this to create tariff deals all around the world. And that's what the globalists are fearing. It makes sense. You got to think about it. He's playing hardball because they've been playing hardball for years.
Oh, yeah.
With us. So he has to do the same thing. It's ruthless. He knows it's a swamp. He was in it. But now he's trying to fight back. And that's what I believe is happening all over the world. You just had two leaders talking, Putin and Xi Jinping, and the North Korean Kim Jong-un, whatever, Jr., they were talking about immortality. They were talking about organs being transplanted.
Making the people they could
all
live.
They think about.
Yeah, well, they were talking about being able to live to be 150 years old. I saw that. Yeah.
Yes, that's crazy. They literally. I don't know. There's this one last thing I want to leave with. Take the symbol of the open AI, invert it. When you invert it, combine it together, and you're gonna see some kind of symbolism.
Yeah.
That's gonna shock you.
Yes, it's the star of Ramfan.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's actually that star originated from when they took the star in the Bible. They took the star of their God with them, and that's the synagogue of Satan. That's what's running the whole entire world.
That's right.
That's literally what they are. They're the synagogue of Satan, and they are running the entire world because this is his domain for right now until Christ comes back and cleans it all up.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to pry right now AI and all this other stuff where people don't know what they're saying, to the point where it's going to be like when something divine does happen. Let's say there's a huge conspiracy about the rapture. When that happens, people are going to be like, maybe that was aliens or this. They're not going to know what to believe.
Yeah, blue beam.
They're looking for one person to unite us all, and that's what's going to be the big trick. So that's all I got to say. You're awesome.
Wow, great. What a great call. Man, you know what you're talking about. I'm impressed, and you're right about Isaac Cappy, because he came flat out and said, I am not suicidal, and so would Virginia Giuffre. She said, look, I'm not into taking myself out. So you're right about that. You're also right about the star, because that was mentioned in the book of Amos. That's why it's called the Star of Remphan, which represents Baal, which represents Moloch, which represents Beelzebub, which represents Lucifer.
Exactly. He's got many names too. That's what's funny. People don't realize that. He's also got many names too. He's an archangel. There was Gabriel, there was Michael,
Muriel,
and there was Lucifer.
Yep.
Michael was in charge of being a warrior. He's in charge of God's army. You got Gabriel in charge of delivering messages, and then you have Satan, who's in charge of worship. So that makes him obviously number one target on the world. Is people that are producing music that's coming out right now. Ice Cube said it himself. They came to him when they first started doing gangster rap. The whole idea of it was to make people just do crimes, and they were benefiting it. These people behind the scenes are benefiting off of the black. I don't know. I don't want to get into racial parts, but they were benefiting off of the black people going to prison, and they were making so much money off of it, gangster rap. And Ice Cube blew the lid off of that. So I'm really happy to see some of these people are starting to really wake up and make a difference and try. And when you do speak out, they cancel you or they kill you. There's no in between. Or they make you look like a fool. They make you look like you're some... Orlando Brown is a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
That young man, I feel so bad for him because Hollywood took him and they just... It's like he's gone up there. Or maybe he's just a really good actor. I don't know. But thank you so much again for having me just go on and on and on. Thank you.
No, that's all right. I appreciate the call.
I really want more people to call in and, wake up. Please, wake up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. Great contribution to the show. I really appreciate it. God bless. And I hope to hear from you again.
Absolutely. Z from Florida or Zach. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. No, thank you. You have a great weekend. God bless. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
All right. Hey, wasn't that something? Yeah. Okay, the phone number here is 215-867-8255. Again, you want to call in, belly up to the bar. It's open lines Friday. I do have some materials that I want to get to, but as always, if I hear a caller beeping in there, I'll jump in there and grab your call. And when I do pick it up, if I'm mid-sentence, just hold on, I'll get to you, okay? Again, 215-867-8255. Okay, I did want to get to this issue about, I mentioned the flotilla and how Israel is classified the flotilla as a terrorist group. So that's going to legitimize them going out and attacking them in their own minds. They're a legend in their own mind. And that's why I was saying, the International Criminal Court, the UN, the Human Rights Commission, they're all saying that this is genocide and this is, crimes against humanity, blah, blah, blah. And Israel doesn't pay any attention to it because they actually believe that they are the only humans and that they've been brainwashing their children from a very early age to believe that the Palestinians are not human. They are dogs. They are subhuman, which is why they can do anything that they want and get away with it in their own minds. They don't see that they're breaking any laws. I mean, this is madness. But I want to take the clock back. I don't know how many years ago this audio clip is, but this is Benjamin Milikowski, I should say, and he was defining what terrorism is. Now, keep in mind, what mindset do the Palestinians have? I mean, they have been relentlessly attacked, bombed, sniped at, starved, herded, tortured, you name it. Now, are they terrorized? I would think so. So let's have Bibi define terrorism. Here we go.
What terrorists do is target the innocent deliberately, and therefore my definition of terrorism is the systematic and deliberate attack, the murder, maiming, and menacing of innocents, of civilians, for political goals. You can tell a lot about terrorists, but what happens when they come to power? Those who fight for freedom and come to power do not impose terrorism. Those who do, who who fight in terroristic means end up as being masters of terrorist states.
Okay, now that's his definition of terrorism. Okay, when innocent, you heard what he said about innocence. Okay, so when you're terrorizing an innocent population, that makes you a terrorist, doesn't it? That's what he said. However, let's take a look at the numbers. Here's I forget what this guy's name is. He posts on social media, but he did some math. Yeah, he figured this out. Listen up. This is cool.
According to the latest reports, Israel has killed 8,900 Hamas fighters in the last 2 years. And the total number of people who have died in the last 2 years, at the bare minimum, lowest, most conservative bullshit figures, comes to about 60,000.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. He just said about 8,000 terrorists out of 60,000. Okay?
That would put Israel's accuracy rate at 15%.
15.
That's right. When I was in school, 5th grade, I needed 50% to move to 3rd grade. Let me say that one more time. Israel's accuracy rate is 15%. My teacher at school used to tell me, if you don't get 50%, you can't go to 3rd grade. If you get 30%, you can apply to be a dog. At 15%, you're as dumb as a rock. But this 15% is based on a total death count of 60,000, which is stupid. The actual death count, as per latest internal military memos from Israel and also the latest Harvard study, comes to about 400,000 people.
Whoa.
Based on these numbers, Israel's accuracy rate goes down to an amazing 2%. Just for context, my dog could get more than 2% if he took a shit on the examination papers. Imagine going to work tomorrow and telling your boss that your accuracy rate is 50%. You would get fired within a second. Now imagine telling him that your accuracy rate is 2%. They would replace you in the company with a garbage can. Imagine being a doctor and saying that 98% of your patients die. Well, they would probably give you a job in Israel.
Oh, man. But those are the stats, folks. Israel's accuracy rate, if those numbers are correct, and I have no reason to believe that they're not, is 2%. That means 98% of the fatalities are civilians. How does that relate to what you just heard Bibi Netanyahu say? So, I mean, this, and they can justify this? This is the madness that we're talking about here. This is the insanity, the absolute madness that we're dealing with. Okay, I just wanted to get that out there because, and again, the mindset of these Israelis is that the Palestinians are subhuman, and that's why they figure that they are absolved from any guilt, and that the International Criminal Court is wrong, the UN is wrong, everybody's wrong. Everybody. Because Israel, the Israelis are, quote, God's chosen people. My gosh, I guess they forgot about the 10 Commandments, didn't they? Anyway, all right, I'm going to change gears just for a second. You regular listeners know that I've been focusing a lot on AIPAC, for months and months and months. And now the whole country's noticing AIPAC. And you got Tom Massey, you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, you've got Matt Gaetz, you've got more and more members of Congress are starting to look at AIPAC and the amount of money that is being flooded into the pockets of those who have succumbed to those 3 magic words. Remember, lobbying? What is lobbying?
Bribery.
Right, it's bribery. That's what it is. So we've been focusing on AIPAC. Okay, I'm going to put that on the back burner here for just a second. Now, we all know that lobbying goes on across the board, all right? Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because over the past 24 hours, for those of you who were watching yesterday, Robert Kennedy Jr. was being grilled by the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee, all right? What that has to do with Health and Human Services, that's a good question. But the bottom line here is that the Finance Committee, finance, money. Now, let's think outside the cage. We've been focusing in on AIPAC and the amount of money that is being funneled into the pockets of our representatives and how they are being persuaded, cajoled, manipulated into voting a certain way. Okay? And we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars in some cases, which is kind of cheap. You know, we got some representatives in Congress that have allowed themselves to be swayed for the price of an automobile. They're betraying their country for $10 or $20 or $30,000. Some of them get over $100,000. Some of them get $1 million. But, there's the big but. All right, that's AIPAC. Now let's move over, and again, we're talking about lobbying, right?
Bribery.
Oh, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Now, it's not lobbying, it's bribery. So. Let's think about how much money that the pharmaceutical companies give to your elected officials. Yeah, that's something to think about. Because I guarantee you it's a lot more than what Israel's paying. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull that up here. I had a chart here. Somebody had a breakdown of how much money the politicians have been paid off by Big Pharma. And let me see, tallied it all up here. It says this is how much the murderous vaccine cartels are paying off the politicians. Bernie Sanders got $23,193,000. Raphael Warnock got $14,726,000. Elizabeth Warren, no wonder she's so mad at RFK trying to take away those vaccines, or at least examine them so we know that they're safe and effective. Where's that? That's a magic phrase.
Safe and effective.
Yeah, right. Okay. Elizabeth Warren got $10,477,000. Let me see. Ron Wyden got $6,780,000. Patty Murray, $5,887,000. And the list goes on. Tim Kaine got $3,320,000, almost $321,000. Let me see. Ed Markey, John Hickenlooper, Lisa Blunt Rochester. I mean, all these names are here. Maria Cantwell, Andy Kim. All these representatives all got over $1 million from Big Pharma. Now, whose interest do you think that they're going to represent? And when Robert Kennedy comes in there and says, look, we need to re-examine this situation with all these vaccines, they're losing their minds. And by the way, about 20 years ago, I went with a couple of other, with my wife at the time, Joyce Riley, and a couple of other friends of ours who were medical professionals. And we went to the convention of homeopathic, osteopathic, and naturopathic physicians. It was down in Branson, Missouri. And in that convention, they were bringing up some really interesting statistics. And again, this is 20 years ago. I don't know if this still stands today, but 20 years ago, we were told that there's a panel of 14 individuals, 14 physicians, that make the decisions as to what goes on the childhood vaccine schedule. Okay, so you got 14 physicians, and they're all going to have a powwow and decide how many and which vaccines are going to become mandatory, go onto the childhood vaccine schedule. Well, it turns out that 11 of the 14 physicians also were major stockholders in the companies that manufacture the vaccines. That's called a conflict of interest. So it's not about your health. It never was. It's about money. It's about the profits. And the CDC is a business. They are in the business of selling vaccines. They make money from the sale of vaccines. So, of course, they're going to push the vaccines. It's sort of like, let's say that there's a manufacturer of widgets. And you've got some money and that you can throw around in Congress. And you know that Congress is talking about possibly passing a bill that very well could benefit your company because they're going to have some government contract or some military contract that's going to manufacture something that requires some of your widgets. So what do? You fork over some bucks over to that representative, and of course they're going to vote in your favor, especially if you guarantee that they're going to have some kickbacks, especially if they have some stocks in your company. That's what insider trading is all about. And right now, there's a lot of people that are taking a look at Ilhan Omar, before she got into Congress 6 years ago, she was $45,000 in debt. So she gets into Congress, and here it is about 6 years later. Now she's worth $30 million. Now that's just one congressperson, just one. Can you imagine what's going on a grand scale? Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, get you thinking outside of the cage, folks, because this is all going across the board right now. And I want to thank the caller that called in a few minutes ago, because he brought forward, there's a lot of diabolical bullcrap that's going on behind the scenes. And of course, last night Trump had a dinner at the White House. And Zuckerberg was there, Bill Gates was there, and a lot of people are saying, wait a minute, wait a minute. How are you even sitting down at the same table, let alone having dinner with these people? Well, maybe it's Sun Tzu's art of war. You hold your friends close, but you hold your enemies closer. I don't know. I know that there is definitely 5D chess being played, and most of us are trying to figure it out. Some people have been following the Q posts and trying to, connect the dots with that. And then other people are saying that, that's just a bunch of horse hockey, and we have to we still have to think outside of the cage. But there is definitely a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And I don't care how well informed you are, it's very difficult to sort all this stuff out. Now, in the meantime, I got to tell you, there are people now that are starting to look at this immigration thing that's going on all over Europe and here in the United States, and we should be paying very close attention to what's going on. So, as a matter of fact, okay, let me see which one of these should I play first. All right. There's a guy that was talking about all of the immigrants coming across, and you've heard me mention this more than once. I've been banging the drum for the past ever since the borders got opened up, and I noticed how many military-age males were coming across, not with their families, many of them Chinese, and again, you don't get out of China unless they let you out. And they're saying, wait a second, why are all these military-age people, men, coming into our country?
Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. You're just thinking that
Shut up and sit down. But anyways, I'm not the only one who's thinking about this. Listen to this.
Right, let's address the major elephant in the room. I'm thinking it, you're definitely thinking it, and I'm sure 99% of Europe is thinking it. Are these migrants really migrants, or is this an undercover army invading Europe? And you see, the reason most of us are asking this question is obvious. It's all men. No women, no children, just men. Fighting age men, to be more precise. Not old men, not little kids. Fighting age men. I'm talking 20 to 40 years old here. Now let me show you some pictures of past migrations, and then I'm going to show you pictures of current migrations, and then you tell me if you can spot the difference. So here's a picture of a past migration. Yeah, women, children, happy days. Here's another. Women, children, old women, old men, happy days. And another. And another. Now, let's take a closer look at the migrants making their way to Europe right now. All men. All men again. And more men.
He's showing pictures of some of these floats, these rafts, small boats that have been coming across the Mediterranean and into the southern European countries. And yes, they're all men. Not one woman, not one child, not one elderly. They're all able-bodied men.
Now, I don't know about you. I come from an immigrant family. I lived in America. I live in England. I'm Portuguese. I've migrated a few times. And you know what? Natural migrants, real migrants, we bring women, we bring children, we come to the country, we work hard, we pay taxes, we contribute to the system. What we don't do is leave women and children behind while we flee in search of a better life. We don't get put in 5-star hotels and get given buffet meals that only veterans could dream of, especially those living on the street, or even pensioners that can't afford to pay for their gas or electricity. These men are coming here, living an extravagant life, everything paid for, while the women and children stay behind and have to fend for themselves. Now, I don't know about you, but if you look back in human history, the men go to war, the women and children stay behind.
Mm-hmm.
If by now you haven't noticed that they are bringing an army overseas disguised as a migration flea, then I don't know what to tell you. All I'm saying is you're going to have a really fucked up wake-up call soon.
Yes, we are.
And by then, it might just be too late. Wake up, Europe. Wake up, world. Because you might just live to regret it if you don't.
Wake up, America! That's what's going on right here and right now. And, of course, if you say anything about that, okay, then you're a racist. Okay, you're a fill-in-the-blankophobe. And that's not the only post about this immigration problem. Here's another one.
It's not migration. It's an invasion. And you ain't got to take my word for it. You can hear it straight from the source.
When Muslims go and conquer the adjacent country, what do? We kill them all? No. The Prophet says, the first thing you do is call them to Islam. If they accept it, leave them. Khalas, they're Muslims, we go. If they refuse, then tell them to pay taxation, jizya. If they refuse, then we have to fight. And if we fight you, then we capture you, you become our slaves, and we take your land, and you take where, because you refuse, I give you two good options.
Yeah, they really are a religion of peace. You either become their slaves, you either convert to Islam, you either pay extravagant taxation simply because you have different beliefs, or you die. Simple, innit? I don't know about you guys, but I know that my ancestors, they didn't die for this shit. They died to keep European culture alive. They died for our freedom. And it's our duty to make their deaths mean something. And that goes for good Muslims too. They are part of our culture. Because believe it or not, there are a lot of good Muslims out there. I know many of them.
There's a lot of good Jews out there too, and I know many of them.
These people come to our countries. They work hard. They integrate with our culture. Yes, they still have contact with their culture, of course, which is absolutely fine. But what you cannot do is go to someone else's country and demand that they change and adapt for you. That's not right. When you're a guest in someone's country, you adapt. You don't make demands. So please do not paint Muslims with the same brush, because these are not Muslims. These are very, very radical, evil, extremist people. And they have only one thing on their mind: the total conquering of Europe.
That's exactly right. And it's not, we haven't heard this before. As a matter of fact, more people are starting to wake up. They're getting what they call Sharia fatigue. Listen, this young woman spelled it out quite nicely. Here she is.
I officially have liberal fatigue because there's one thing to disagree on, like healthcare or abortion or gun control. But what we're disagreeing on has become so radicalized and so far loony-toony left that I'm so tired of it. They're calling for our destruction. They're opening up doors to invite in people who do not tolerate us, who do not want to separate church and state, who want to implement Sharia law. There is currently such a lack of understanding of what the rest of the world is like, and the fact that freedom is not free amongst the liberals, that I'm exhausted. Like, I'm so tired of seeing these women march for something that they don't understand. Or really march against something they don't understand. They're marching against our freedoms. Our freedoms to choose how we want to live our lives, choose how we want to dress, choose what God we want to worship. Like, most of the world does not have these freedoms. Look at Europe. It is falling. It is being invaded by migrants from Muslim majority countries. Why don't they go to one of their 50 plus Muslim countries? They're not there to assimilate. They're not there to seek asylum. They're there to invade. And the same thing is going to happen to America because they get in through leftist ideologies, through DEI, through open borders, through this extreme tolerance of a culture that does not tolerate you, because Islam is not just a religion, it is a culture and a way of life, and there is no such thing as Islamophobia. Liberals today just have zero understanding of the way the rest of the world is, and the fact that our freedom is not free. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I have liberal fatigue.
Yeah, I don't blame you, sweetie. Yeah, I mean, it's sad, but the liberals out there are preaching tolerance and diversity. We have to be tolerant, you know. We need to have diverse cultures and stuff like that. Okay, I get it. Yeah, United States is a boiling, boiler pot or whatever you want to call it. But the point is that these people that are coming in, they have no desire to assimilate. The world that they left behind, is completely different than our world. In a lot of cases, you can't even have a rational discussion with them because their point of reference is so far removed from American culture. Not only that, but many of these immigrants that have come from the Middle Eastern countries, all they know is war and destruction. Thanks to the CIA and the imperialist United States that has this superiority complex that the whole world has got to do what we want them to, and this is why we manufacture all these wars over there, never on our own soil. No. That's why George Carlin was saying we're really good at bombing brown people. He wasn't wrong. And it's been going on for generations over there. So this is the only lifestyle that they know. All they know is war, destruction, carnage, I mean, this is where they're coming from. This is their point of reference. And we're opening the doors and they're just flooding in here with the help of people within our own government. And that is what I would call treason. Alejandro Mayorkas, before he was Secretary HHS, he was a board member on the HAIS, which is the Hebrew International Assistance. I forget what the acronym is, but they basically set up to help people immigrate into the United States. And all through the Biden administration, they had outposts all through Central America where people who wanted to get into this country they don't care where you're from, who you are, what your background is. Just here's some more supplies. Here's some more money. Here's this. They were helping them. They were giving them maps. They were showing them the best places to cross into the country with the least amount of resistance. And these people that are coming into this country, and I have no doubt that many of these military age males, they all have, maybe addresses that they have to go to. Okay, look you're going to go to Cincinnati, you're going to go to Denver, you're going to go to Seattle, you're going to go to Chicago, you're going to go to Tampa, you're going to go to New York, you're going to go to Philadelphia, and I'm sure that there are safe houses there for them. And if there aren't, well, the United States government is paying for hotel rooms. And you get plenty of free food and all this other stuff, and you just sit tight until you get the word go. You think that's not going to happen? The people of this country are going to have to understand once again what it's like to have to fight for your freedom. And I'm not advocating violence or anything like that, but I could see the writing on the wall, and it ain't good. It's really nuts. As a matter of fact, it falls right into the Calgary Plan. You ever hear of the Calgary Plan? It was thunk up by a certain ethnic group. Give a listen to this.
Meanwhile, here in Europe, I haven't seen a ton of the migrant situation because I'm normally in really nice places. Capri is like a little tiny island. It's super expensive.
Yeah, the Isle of Capri. Yeah, they don't want the migrants in there, so everything's all hucky-dory, spiffy, boffo, and keen at the Isle of Capri.
You don't see any migrants hanging around. They wouldn't be allowed to come here. Same with downtown Madrid, same with the main tourist areas of Rome. So I haven't seen it, but I know there's massive problems here in Europe, and it's been going on for years. They've been actually bringing them in. It's all part of the Kalergi Plan, which is something that a Jewish guy started.
Yeah, the Kalergi Plan. okay? Now, I just want to remind you, if you've been watching the international news, Ireland is exploding right now. The Irish have had it up to their eyeballs with all of these immigrants coming in and raping their girls. Scotland's the same way. There was a 13-year-old girl and her sister, and some migrant came up and tried to assault them, and this little girl pulled out a hatchet and a big knife, and she made it into the international news. Of course, they first tried to say that she was a terrorist, she was this. Now people are realizing this is what the girls are having to do. They have to arm themselves to be out in public. And everything is bass-ackwards. Anyway, what about this Kalergi plan? Oh, I hit the wrong button. Here we go.
But I know there's massive problems here in Europe, and it's been going on for years. They've been actually bringing them in. It's all part of the Kalergi plan, which is something that a Jewish guy started.
It's very clear that the Jews want to exterminate the European race. Richard Coudenhove Kalergi, who is the father of the European Union and who was funded by the Jewish bankers Rothschild and Warburg.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. Now, if you think this is conspiracy theory, raise your hand up high and slap yourself with it. Because a lot of rabbis, and I played audio clips from many of these rabbis, explaining exactly this plan. They want to mongrelize the entire European culture. Anyway, through misogyny, etc., etc. Here, I'll let this carry on.
Now, this man wrote a book called Praktischer Idealismus in 1925, in which he stated that the Jews are a master race and that the Jews can only assume the throne of rule over the world by weakening the European race, and that the means to weakening the European race would be to dissolve all the European nations, destroy all their cultural heritage and their national traditions, and replace that with the European Union, and then to invite in Africans, Middle Easterners, and Asians to dilute the blood of Europeans through miscegenation to the point where they became a degenerate mixed race. And then at that point, these people would no longer have any sense of nationhood, and the ancient Jewish messianic prophecies of world rule out of Jerusalem, with Jews maintaining their nationhood and their national status, it would fulfill the Jewish messianic prophecies that the Jews could then rule the world. And this was completely in line with what Nikolai had written in 1917 and has manifested itself recently with the invasion of immigrants from Africa, from the Middle East, and from Asia into Europe, America, and Australia.
So, let's think about this for a second. If the Kalergi plan was written up 100 years ago, thereabouts, and it would probably serve their interest to pit two different groups against one another. So here we are talking about all these immigrants coming across from the Middle East and from Africa, and I'm sure that they're not Jewish. No. They want their Sharia law. And of course, here in this country, and it's happening in Australia as well. I mean, people, the Aussies, folks down under, they've had it up to their eyeballs with having to put up with the push for Sharia law. And the Muslims, their particular take on how marriages should work. They've had it up to their eyeballs. And as I mentioned, Scotland's had it, Ireland's had it, and England has already pretty much fallen. I saw some videos from yesterday, and there's in London, they're going nuts. They're going nuts. Yes, Europe is having some very serious problems right now. And for those of us here in the United States that are more concerned, let me see. Week 1 started last night. Yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys had it out. Now, I'll tell you, that drew the attention of so many Americans because, of course, football is the most important thing. Yeah, forget about watching what's going on in your own country. And this is why, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. That's what it says in the good book. And that's where we're at, folks. But the bottom line here is it's happening right in our faces, right under our noses. And unless Americans start to wake up, they might be forced to wake up. And I'll tell you, they won't be waking up to an American dream. They're going to be waking up to a flaming nightmare because they've been asleep for so long. And when it comes right down to being able to defend your own family, your home, your stuff, well, gosh, if you're not prepared, if you don't have any type of protection, then you're just going to be a victim. Well, maybe that's the plan. That's the plan. Yeah. So I hate to say it, folks, but our elected officials are not working for you. As I mentioned on the outset here, it's about, they say we get the best government money can buy. That's exactly the way it is. And our elected officials are not representing their constituency. They represent the interest of anyone who gives them the most amount of money. And it's not like this hasn't been going on for a long time. I want to turn the clock back about 18 years. It was 2007, I believe it was. I produced a documentary film. It was called 9/11 Ripple Effect. Now, that was the sequel to the first 9/11 film I did back in 2004. If you haven't looked it up, you can go to my website, vonKleist.com, and you can watch 9/11 in plain sight. That came out in 2004. And then in 2007, because of the huge splash it made worldwide, I produced a documentary, a sequel called 9/11 Ripple Effect. And for whatever reason, you can't find it on YouTube anymore. Used to be up there on Rumble, but I don't know, I haven't checked lately, but it's hard to find. It was on Vimeo, but they've taken a lot of my stuff down. It's been deep-sixed or whatever. But I want to play a clip. You want to talk about, what makes the world go round? You know what a no-bid contract was all about, right? You want to talk about how the American people have been financially raped over and over and over again? I mean, to an obscene level. You want to hear how obscene the corruption is with these no-bid contracts? Here we go. This is 18 years ago from 9/11 Ripple Effect. Listen up.
That there are hundreds of government contractors in Iraq right now with countless contracts. Let's take a look at one of these government contracts, a no-bid contract that was awarded to Halliburton. The Houston Chronicle reported that 82,000 gallons of liquid propane fuel were to be transported to Baghdad, but they weren't going to be transported from the United States to Baghdad. They were going to be transported from Kuwait to Baghdad, a distance of approximately 300 miles. I contacted a liquid propane company and asked how many trucks it would take to transport 82,000 gallons of fuel. I was told about 10 trucks. I asked, how much would you charge to transport those 10 trucks approximately 300 miles? I was told approximately $1 per mile per truck, for a total of approximately $3,000. I asked if this was a government contract, how much would the charge be? And I was told that it would be 2 or 3 times that amount. So let's say it would be $10,000. The question is, how much was Halliburton awarded to transport this fuel? The answer, $27.5 million.
Whoa.
How many of your tax dollars went to pay Halliburton to transport this fuel? Wouldn't it have been cheaper to have 10 privates drive those trucks that distance? The question is, how much money is coming out of the United States taxpayers' dollars to pay for this war and is being funneled into the pockets of companies like Halliburton? Is this a war for profit? You decide.
No, again, that was just one of thousands of no-bid contracts that get flown all over Washington, D.C. And you heard that inflated. $27.3 million for a job that probably could have been done for 10 grand. This is how badly, how obscenely the American taxpayers have been financially raped over and over and over again. And you couple that with the waste and fraud, USAID, et cetera, no wonder we got $37 trillion in debt. We have to grab all these perpetrators and hold their feet to the fire. This is nuts. But, oh well, it's football time, as I mentioned, Anyway, it's not like I didn't try to warn you many years ago. This is the title cut from my third album, Forever Vigilant. It's a little bit of a history lesson. Listen up. Oh, that's not the way that's supposed to go. Here we go.
Our families came from far away to build a better future and to find a better way. At first it wasn't easy. There were times they had to fight, one by land or two by sea, the lanterns in the night. They pledged their sacred honor and established liberty, and they wrote the Constitution for their posterity. To tyrants they were terrorists and they were called the enemy, but these patriotic rebels pledged their lives so we'd be free. Don't let it slip away, the framers tried to warn us. Forever vigilant is what we have to be. Be on your guard, protect your Constitution, or your republic will become a tyranny. And as this country prospered, there were those who couldn't stand to see the common people as the rulers of their land. A small cabal of rich men then meticulously planned, regaining their control with an economic hand. For many generations and through the countless years, their money paid for influence and their tactics played on fears, until each politician, corporate leader, CEO understood they had to play along or say they didn't know. Don't let it slip away, the framers tried to warn us. Forever vigilant is what we have to be. Be on your guard, defend your Constitution, or your republic will succumb to tyranny. There are those who don't believe this evil story could be true, but if you look and think, you'll see just what they've done to you. A third of all your labor every year they tax away, and how they spend your money you don't have a right to say. Our country now's awakened and our eyes are open wide. We see how they deceived us and we know just how they lied. It's time for restoration. Yes, it's time to do what's right. And although we may not want to, if we have to, we will fight. Because we understand just why the framers warned us. Forever vigilant is what we now must be. And we're prepared to defend our Constitution. Armed with the truth, we'll defeat this tyranny. We will not fail and we'll march to victory. Yes, we will stand and together we will be free.
All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for another week in broadcasting madness here at the WTF Reports, and I appreciate your listenership, I really do. And if you're enjoying the broadcast, please click like, share, and subscribe, and bigger than anything else, it's word of mouth, folks. Get the word out. Let the folks know that there is a voice of sanity here, okay? And please visit our website, do business with our sponsors. TheWTFReports.com. That said, I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay free. God bless you all. And I will see you on Monday.